land. The title report is a generated report that shows the chain of title. The chain of title is the chain of the sales and transfers of ownership of the title. Title insurance protects the borrower and the lender from any flaws in the title from the date of the closing and before. There are two types. Owner's title insurance, which protects the owners, usually not a requirement but a recommendation, and the lender's title insurance. It's always required on a transaction as it protects the lender. An easement is a legal right to use another's land for a specific or limited purpose. A restrictive covenant is a clause in a deed or a lease to real property that limits what the owner of the land or lease can do with the property. An encroachment is when a property owner violates the property rights of his neighbor by building something on the neighbor's land or by allowing something to hang over onto the neighbor's property. A deed is an instrument that conveys a grantor's interest, if any, in the real property. Ownership in severalty is the simplest form of ownership. It's ownership in a sole form, meaning only one person owns it. Co-ownership, also known as a concurrent ownership, is the ownership of a property by two or more persons who share title to real property. Tenancy in common is a form of co-ownership with two or more persons having an undivided interest in the entire line, but no rights to survivorship. Right to survivorship means that the property passes automatically to other co-owners when one co-owner dies. Joint tenancy exists when each co-owner has an equal, undivided interest in the land with the right of survivorship. Tenancy by the entirety is a form of co-ownership that involves only owners who are legally married, with each having an equal and undivided share of the property. A lien is not only a financial interest in the property, it is also a financial encumbrance and can be voluntary or involuntary. A note, a promissory note, is a written, legally binding promise to repay a debt. Default is the failure to fulfill an obligation, duty, or promise, as when a borrower fails to make payments on a mortgage. Generally, liens are paid in the order they were attached to the land. The important exception is a property tax lien. These types of liens are superior to all other liens. Insurance. Insurance requirements for homeowners insurance, hazard insurance, and flood insurance are as follows. Borrowers must have both if required at closing and paid up for the next 12 months. When a property is in a flood zone, most lenders are going to require that the borrower obtain flood insurance. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, is responsible for creating 100-year floodplain maps and providing flood insurance to homeowners in identified flood zones. Maximum flood insurance is $250,000 for the property and $100,000 for personal property. The 1973 Flood Disaster Protection Act regulated and required insured lenders and federal agencies to require flood insurance for loans for properties in special flood hazard areas,